Well, we decided to go back to the sand pit. And here we see Henrik on the right, and that'll be the last time you see him today. When we finally get to the sand pit, there's no sign of him. Anyways, we looked for him, we never found him, so we decided to ride. I tried the bowl for the first time. It actually wasn't all that scary once you tried it once. Then Chris decided to take a stab at it on the HP2. It's a lot steeper than it looks. This little hill has been giving me trouble all year, the loose sand. Anyway, this was the first crash of the day. Luckily, Chris wasn't having much luck either. Then when I look back, I can see that I've ripped off my left saddlebag. After that, we just kind of zoomed around in the pit, having a good time. After another little crash, I finally ripped off the other saddlebag. Here you see Chris get some pretty good air. The last 2 feet of this climb were pretty much vertical. And I thought I'd give this a shot once again. Anyways, that was enough fun. We decided to ride home in the ditch. Got to the first water hole. Always send in the tallest guy first. Then when we got to the next one, it looked quite a bit deeper.
Somebody went through it.
Chris decided to go for it. Now if you look closely on the right, you can see the spray hitting the trees.
Somebody went through it, but not him. I think I am pushing.
Anyways, I had a nice little walk through the woods.
Almost made it. What seems to be the problem? Here we go.
Had a little bit of muscle power, 2 guys, we got it out pretty quick. Then it was back to Fort Saint Eugene to see what the hell had happened to Henrik. We saw his bike up on the lift when we pulled in. And there it was, the snapped off clutch lever and choke lever.
That doesn't matter, but this? How did you do that with handguards?
The following week, it was off to this area called Grenville that we found about on Ride Aventure. It was pretty greasy in there. Single track, really slippery. It'd been raining for a couple of days. Some good hill climbs. Not ideal for the big bikes. First crash of the day. Then we got to this really gnarly downhill.
What's going on, Sir Jordan?
Apparently, this is the easy part of the trail.
This is the easy part. I'm glad to hear. It actually gets a little tricky right there.
It was pretty
But
steep.
After that, it looks like after that, he's gonna be just like cruising on the boot.
Yeah, this descent was
nice.
really slippery. And we got to this log blocking the trail. Instead of just driving over it, I decided to try to drive around it. Anyways, this took us about 10 minutes with Chris and Henrik both trying to help him get the bike unstuck out of the woods. We got to this long water crossing, and it was slippery. The rocks in it were incredibly slippery. And I tried to rush back to give Henrik a hand, but it was already too late. The old XR was laying in the river. Here we see Chris getting wet. He hates to get wet.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Then we were just zooming down this nice trail, and it was still a bit slippery when I lost it. No damage. And we found some pretty good trails on this run. Lots of rocks, and we also had some really nice slippery hill climbs. This descent was incredible. It was like a little groove washed out by the rain, and really steep. Lots of low branches banging into the camera. Then it was time for a group photo.
This is the awesome group.
Where is Joe?
That's right. That's the
Absent.
question.
The knob is missing.
Doesn't he know we're not enforcing our knob?
No knob policy.
Knobby's mandatory, knobs welcome.
After that, we headed home, and we're home by noon. The next weekend, we decided to go back to that same area and do a little more exploring. Some really nice trails. Then we come across this, a stuck Honda Civic and a guy in his pajamas.
I forgot it's not a 4x4. I see.
No, and jammed on the front part here.
He was totally high-centered on that
Okay, yeah.
cement pipe. Anyways, we jacked up his car, and we used a log, and we crowbarred him off there, and we left him behind. It wasn't very far down the trail that we came to this, so I'm not sure where the guy in the Civic thought he was going. A few minutes later, on another trail, we come across this Pontiac Transport minivan with the windshield all smashed in. And then it dawns on us. They tried to ram through the gate.
I think so.
He drove right into the fence.
Well, he broke the weld.
By the tire tracks, we could see they took
Yeah.
3 attempts.
Gave it the college try. That's where the front wheels were.
It was jammed in.
Front wheels were spinning here.
Holy shit.
Anyways, Chris decided to try and fix the car because he's a good Samaritan kind of guy.
Well, so far, one Honda Civic,
I wouldn't be surprised.
One
if
Pontiac?
on the Civic guy that drove this inside.
and one Pontiac Transport. We've only been on this trail like 2 kilometers. All right. Wonderful to see some off-road vehicles.
Then we found this other trail, which looked a little sketchier. I'd actually made it up this hill. First attempt, Chris didn't have much luck. Once again, this thing was really steep. Here you gotta listen for the sound. Here it comes.
Saw that when I got up here. Oh, fuck. Does your bike not have a side stand? Oh, there it
Yeah,
is.
no damage. And we found another little water crossing. Of course, you can see the bridge on the right. These kind of pebbly bottoms are nice. Then the GPS took us on this funky route home. It's actually said this bridge was part of a municipal road. Anyways, the nice lady who was running the farm there indicated to us that the road up ahead was fenced off. So now we're driving along and we see this lady on the right holding a plate of food. Then you got these 2 jokers on the left with a piece of rope, and this old mangy dog I figured they were trying to catch, so I tried to get in on the rodeo. We later learned that the dog had been hit by a car and they were trying to catch it. So after that, we decided to get the hell out of there. There was too many weird things happening. And we were home a little after noon. Now here, why am I showing Joe's house at 6 o'clock in the morning? Because he never comes on these rides because he can't get out of bed. So we went down, we took a similar route. This is where the Honda was stuck the week before. Now, Joe's got the knobbies on his 1150GS.
Watch that one rock there. Give her!
Stalled it. Then we came to this water crossing. Chris shows us how it's done. I hit the rock. Then it was Joe's turn.
Give her!
Now here you see Chris. Chris hates getting his feet wet.
Okay, I think you're over it.
He'll do any acrobatics not to get his toes wet.
Hey guys! We could have taken the bridge.
You gotta stop being a lemon.
Finally, we put the camera down, and with all of us pushing, we were able to get it out of there. Once you dig a hole in these pebble bottoms, it's really hard to get the thing going. And finally, he was off. And Chris decided to show us how it was done. We found another fork in this trail. There's this really nice trail paralleling this lake. When all of a sudden the road just disappeared into the water.
Nice trail.
And for the record, I do not have necessary tools to remove the spark plugs from my shoulder.
And then way in the
And look,
distance,
you can see the road over there. Whoop. There it is.
anyways, there was a little bit of a bypass through this swampy
Nice.
area. So Chris went first. And it was Joe.
Oh shit.
Now I went through
Fuck,
at a
it wasn't
good clip,
recording?
and Chris didn't
Shit, you
record
gotta
it.
do again.
Don't say that.
No, I'm serious. I thought the little red dot down there meant that it was recording. I didn't know you stopped it.
It is recording.
No, I just pressed it to stop.
Ah!
Fuck, sorry. I thought that was the record dot.
We tried to put on a little show.
Well, this is Riley after his successful water crossing, which
Chris
forgot.
missed.
Well,
For all time.
Third gear.
the camera is non-intuitive.
Came out right here doing a wheelie.
Almost knocked Joe out. Saved it at the last second. Joe's alive.
Give her, you're gonna be.
This was the little swampy bypass. There was a lot of stuff down in that swamp. So we made it through. We finally thought we were out of the water, and then we came to this. Now the water to the left of this culvert was about 3-4 feet deep. I mean, my bike doesn't have enough ground clearance to get over this culvert, so we had to move some rocks around.
Oh.
Even with the rocks, I got stuck here on the skid plate, and Joe had to give me a little push. This water was pretty deep. And Joe has even less ground clearance, so he was really stuck on the pipe. and Chris had to give him a hand.
Oh, beauty!
And there goes Moto Joe. Now here I got a bit off course and it got really deep here on the left.
Holy shit!
Here comes Chris, making it look easy. This was a long stretch with this metal pipe at the
Now
end,
you're
so
okay. Go down the middle though, Bill.
we sent in our best man to walk it.
That's okay. Just go nice and slow, clutching it.
Once again, if you go first, you can see the rocks.
Nice. That's deep.
Then it was my turn. Then it was time to go home. We actually got home around 1 o'clock this day. The following week, we went back to the sand pit. Now doing the bowl seemed like old hat since we'd done it so many times the week before. Time for the first crash of the day. Now Henrik's on his new DR650, he sold the XR. Little mud puddle fun. Now in the back part of the pit was this area with much looser sand, and it wasn't as much fun on the 800. Then there's this little back trail that was banked, and I was getting a little cocky, so I decided to go a little bit faster. Then you see Chris crash behind me. Now Chris gets up, and his foot is pinned under his bike.
There goes my windshield.
See, his foot's pinned under the lever.
You okay?
Oh, that was spectacularly quick. You alright?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Guess this one's worth looking at in slow motion. Notice the sunglasses right here. Anyways, I walked away without so much as a bruise, just a little sore. Yeah, my nice windshield took a beating off my face.
Remember, folks, pack out your trash. Where are my sunglasses? Oh, there they are.
Anyways, no other damage to the bike other than the windshield.
Here we see. It just dug in and turned. You got between your legs there?
The handlebars were a bit tweaked. We tried to straighten them, but it wouldn't do it.
That's going to require some wrenching.
And we got Chris's HP2 up. No damage to it either. Then I thought I'd give this hill one more try. This is one of those slow-mo falls. Can't say that I'm not a fast learner. New approach. Here we see it from another angle.
There we go. Oh,
That was a valiant effort.
Anyways, we loaded up our garbage.
Oh!
One of the rare Chris crashes. And then somehow on the way home, on the trail out of the sand pit, the handlebars straightened themselves. Then it was just a nice highway blast home by noon. Following week, it was back across the river to this little sand pit on the Quebec side. Henrik's already crashed the DR.
So?
Then we headed down the trail once again, and I forgot about the culvert. Just about slammed into that in third gear. Now this would be Henrik's first attempt here with his new DR. He was actually doing really well on the DR because he can actually touch the ground, which is nice. Now the reason I just showed that shot, let's look at it in slow motion. We actually surprised some guy who was trying to take a dump in the woods. Once again, we came to this long water crossing. This time Chris decided not to take the swamp and just ride along the left-hand edge.
Just tell me how you feel about this crossing.
I'm gonna take a pee before because I don't want to piss in the water.
I fell over, and the bike
There's no record of that.
got totally submerged, almost. Blew the headlights out when they went underwater.
Yeah.
But she started right up. I was pretty sure she hadn't sucked in any water. Then it was Henrik on the DR. Not much drama here. Here he comes through the swampy bypass. Now, since I was soaking wet anyways, I decided to walk straight across on the submerged road and see if it was passable. It was never higher than my knee. The water had dropped a little bit in this section since the previous time we were here,
Thanks for a nice photo.
but still not enough ground clearance to get over that pipe.
Henrik, could you lift my ass?
I've never asked him that before. Henrik decided to do the bypass on the left since the water wasn't quite as high.
No, it's good. Okay, go.
Anyways, we were getting pretty good at navigating this section, and then after the next section, we decided to teach Henrik how to use the video camera.
See the red record?
I see.
Zoom is here.
Where?
A little
I see.
adventure rider
All
salute.
right, camera off for now. Give it, give it, give it, give it. Come on. Good.
Go gas!
Giver!
You'll notice that giver and more gas seem to be the most common phrases uttered on these little trips.
Punch it! Whoa.
That metal pipe was really slippery. Henrik with a nice bow wave on the 650.
Give her. You're good. Just go, man. Yeah, okay, you're better now.
Then it was time for Chris on the HP2. He's actually got the lowest air intake, so he has to be a little more cautious. A little help from the photographer.
It's she's a slippery.
All in a day's work.
Are your balls wet?
They're moist. Can you see the steam coming up?
Then we went back to the little sand pit that was right near the entrance to the area. Still haven't mastered sand. Now Henrik was trying to get going on this hill, and because he folds his mirrors in, he couldn't see me behind him. So he's trying to get started, and he can't figure out why the bike just won't get rolling. Then he was nice enough to lend us his bike. This is me on the DR. This thing would climb way better than the F800. Lots of spots I would have gotten stuck. This thing just kept on going and going and going. Then I got a bit cocky here. Anyone who thinks a GoPro can't take a beating, there's some pretty good evidence. The guy who sold Henrik his bike said it had been dropped once.
It's never dropped twice.
Then it was Chris's turn.
Never beaten, never down, man.
How do you feel about lending your bike to people?
He's my brother-in-law, and I'm very glad he got the chance to try my motorcycle. And then he just left it in the backyard.
Now let's look at the look of remorse.
Once again, Henrik's bike's got a broken turn signal.
Is it really broken inside there?
Yeah.
Then Henrik decided to show us how it was done.
Maybe he broke the right one. I don't have to feel for that. It's gonna crash.
He gets the bike turned around.
He's got it.
Now, the dilemma is how to get on it.
Gotta go from the other side. He's gonna do a just gun it and swing his leg over as it goes down the hill.
Now this hill's pretty steep because you can see on the right, he's a lot lower than he is on the left here.
Henrik, you need a hand! We're shaking too much laughing. Okay, here we go.
After that was the about an hour blast home. And yes, we were home by noon. Back to the old Hawkesbury sand pit. Here we see Moto Riley, Mr. Chris, and on the mighty Suzuki DR650, only dropped twice, Henrik. There had been a lot of rain. It was a lot more rutted than usual, so I thought I'd get the first crash out of the way. Take two, second gear, a little more successful. Then we decided to have a slow race. Now Henrik wasn't too clear on the concept. Last man to cross the finish line wins. Yeah, I know it's exciting. Then I hit this tiny little rock and stalled it. Luckily, Chris put his foot down too. Now, Henrik doesn't know what's going on at this point, so obviously full body contact is allowed.
Henrik, you had it in the bag!
Some high-speed shots. And then we see Henrik's amazing wheelie. We went down to the other end of the sand pit where there was some looser hill climbs and terrain.
Nice.
Henrik was doing a lot better on the DR than on the XR. He was actually getting pretty good at climbing these steep, loose sections.
This is going to end in disaster.
It's always nice when your friends have confidence in you. So I thought I'd try it again. And a little less, not quite as steep. That hill was a lot better. A little adventure rider salute.
Oh. No way! Oh!
He can actually climb pretty good.
You made it! You had it, man! Right up until you crashed, you had it.
Then we decided to set up a little pylon course with some rocks and some slow speed turns here in this circle. Yes, the Adventure Spec crash bars work.
This is the way to park a motorcycle, Riley.
Chris then decided to use my bike as a pylon. On the way back, we sent Henrik into that same swamp hole in the ditch. Sadly, we all had to get in to help him get out. It was really messed up in there. Some guys had been through there in a Jeep or something.
Stuff stinks.
And then from this, we all took off and
Okay, Chris, your turn!
we were home by noon. In preparation for the next ride, Henrik had done some backyard engineering.
Henrik, tell us about today's big innovation.
Today, I'd like to unveil the more crash-resistant blinker system. In the past, we have had problems, the usual designs. As we can see here, look at the next motorcycle that sports the regular blinkers.
Why don't you flex them?
Which are well protected.
Which are easily broken off. They stick out far. And
of course, they're protected by the racks.
Well, this model, is different because it has racks.
They've never ever broken.
These don't break.
And they're not even scratched.
Well, they are more flexible. You see, my original blinkers were
Hold on.
removed in the crash.
Nice.
And so I decided to go with a
it's so
revolutionary
tempting
new
just to kick it.
design. And
Yes. And you of course studied design in Hungary?
naturally. So anyway,
And what was your favorite drink? Red wine and what?
Coca-Cola.
Anyways, it was back across the river, and we got to our usual T-junction where we go left or right, and this time we decided to go straight. We got to the first junction and we took a left. Got to this stupid little branch, got the front wheel over. First crash of the day. Then the trail kind of petered out into this steep forest hill. So we backtracked to the junction and took the right-hand bend. And that didn't really pan out either. Ended up coming to kind of a washed out bridge with a lot of downed trees. So we hung a UE there and backtracked. We were hoping to bypass the lake. Once again, we ended up at the lake, and this time I decided just to drive straight across on the underwater road. The GoPro camera was a bit fogged up here, and on the right you can see those lily pads. That was deep out there. Anyways, made it across without too much drama. It kind of shallowed out in the middle, and then it got deeper again before it got nice and shallow. Then it was time for Henrik. The air intake for the DR is under the seat, so he's got quite a bit of fording depth. Then we decided not to jerk around on the other water crossings. We just try to do them all in one shot without stopping. Of course, I didn't want to get my bike wet, so I skirted this puddle to the right. And despite having been down this path many times before, we noticed this little offshoot to the left here. This actually turned out to be a pretty nice trail. It was a little bit greasy because of all the recent rain. This was actually a pretty steep downhill section.
Here we see his Paris-Dakar preparation run.
Then we found another sand pit. The sand in this sand pit was really deep and loose. A rare shot of Chris falling.
Wave to your fans!
HP2 was doing all right in the loose stuff as long as Chris kept the speed up.
Nice! Nice jump. Henrik will now show him how it's done. Any last words?
Don't try this at home.
Henrik was off on the DR.
There he goes.
Here he goes. Get your feet on the pegs, Bill.
That's a steep hill, that one.
Give her not enough speed. I can hear it. No. Well, he should have been up there by now. I'm too lazy to run down there and get. Yeah, I think that was Henrik for my balls.
And we see Henrik trying to extricate himself. This shows you how loose the sand was. I guess we could have gone and helped him, but we would have had to walk down the hill. He got it out eventually all by himself anyways. A little more speed.
Nice. What happened back there?
Henrik was cutting a low.
We made it. We made it. We brought it home.
Spin it.
I came here on purpose. I like it where I am.
Gas it!
Give her.
We're not helping you get out of there.
Here we see the hole.
It's impressive.
This is going to be the yearly demonstration of the Awesome Players Off-Road Motorcycle Club.
I wasn't having a lot of success with the 800 in this loose stuff. Tried to get into second gear just before the base of the hill.
Whoa! Is that Henrik's hole?
Then some guys on real bikes showed up. And they had no problem going anywhere. So we basically sat around and watched these guys on a 450 and some sort of 700cc ATV show us how it's done. And then one of the guys came up and talked to us for a bit about some of the local trails. And we packed up and we're home by noon.